I got my latest NFL Power Rankings here, pre-draft edition. So let's check in with number 10 on my list, a team that perhaps I'm higher on than many pundits out there. I've got the Los Angeles Chargers checking in inside the top 10, and I think it starts at the edge rushing position with me because Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa scare the living daylights out of me if I, pretend I'm a quarterback under center against this team because they're so darn good. And you got a really good secondary in Casey Hayward, Trevor Williams, Jason Verrett. We'll see if Trey Boston returns. He's still on the open market, but the secondary is really good, and the edge rushers are solid as well. So the Chargers have to address defensive tackle and inside linebacker via the draft. So that's something to monitor for all you Bolts fans out there. Offensive line, I think, might be a priority as well. But you got a couple of young guards there, more specifically Forrest Lamp and Dan Feeney. Plenty of room to grow there. I think the addition of Virgil Green remaining in that AFC West there, I think, is really solid. Number one, from a scouting perspective, you can scout out the Broncos when the Chargers played Denver twice at least in 2018. And from a impose your will kind of perspective, because that's what the Chargers want to do now. It's clear to me. Virgil Green's a good run-blocking tight end. So I think the Chargers are a team to watch out for. I'm telling you, the AFC West is going to be a dogfight, and perhaps not for the better. I'm thinking like 9-7, 10-6. We'll probably win this division here. I think the Chargers can absolutely do that. And by the way, Mike Pouncey solidifying things at center. They could finally have a real center for the first time since 2014 here. I will be interested to see how Mike Williams performs. Didn't see much of him in 2017. Had dealt with some injuries there. So the Chargers, a team to watch out for in the NFL. They're at number 10. Let's go to number 9 here. I am not drinking the gold Kool-Aid or the red Kool-Aid or however you want to put it. I am telling it to you straight. The 49ers are the 9th best team in the NFL right now. Why? Number one, they got their quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. This kid is unbelievable. I think he's going to be a really good player for San Francisco. They bring in Richard Sherman. All right, that's the cornerback opposite Ahkello Witherspoon that they have so highly coveted and been looking for. They bring in Weston Richburg at center, who I think is going to be really solid in Kyle Shanahan's zone blocking scheme. Joshua Garnett at guard. He could perhaps be a starter. He's behind the 8 ball a little bit because Laken Tomlinson and Jonathan Cooper are the front runners there. But Garnett, a high draft pick, shed some pounds too. We'll see what he can do. You got Ahkello Witherspoon, like I mentioned, who is really, really good and a young player, but also some other young players in that secondary. Adrian Colbert is back there at safety. Jaquiski Tart as well. So you look at the interior of the offensive line, that's where I'm concerned, at guard. We'll see how that kind of shakes itself out. And at edge rusher. So can the 49ers produce enough sacks in that NFC West and in the NFL and their schedule in general? But I like Pierre Garçon. I like Marquise Goodwin, really good wide receiving duo. I don't think it's crazy to say that the 49ers are the 9th best team in the National Football League. Now, the Reuben Foster situation, worth watching. Maybe it would be a bad idea to draft Roquan Smith as insurance. Maybe, but we'll see. I think it's a real possibility that the 49ers even trade back in that draft and accumulate some more picks there because I think outside of Quentin Nelson, there's really no glaring need in that top 10 for San Francisco. So, trading back wouldn't be a bad idea. And John Lynch has, been pretty aggressive so far in free agency. I'm sure he can be pretty aggressive as well during the draft. Now, will the 49ers make the playoffs in 2018? Hit me up in the reaction poll, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a heart for yes, a like for no. I want to hear from you guys watching the Cam Rogers Show. All right, so let's get to number 8 in my power rankings here, the Atlanta Falcons. A team that has been quite quiet, shall we say, in free agency so far, and there's a reason for that, because they don't have many needs. A really balanced roster. Bringing in Brandon Fusco at guard perhaps is the only real need they had to address, the guard position, and maybe Fusco replaces Schweitzer there. They got Andy Levitre at the other guard position as well, who's pretty solid. So really balanced team. I think Adrian Claiborne moving on out hurts, and Taylor Gabriel leaving hurts as well, but Overall, they have an underrated front seven. They got Deion Jones and Grady Jarrett, who had really good 2017 campaigns. Now, in terms of their draft strategy here, I'm thinking the Falcons can be kind of aggressive, roll the dice a little bit here, because they don't have to draft to their needs because they don't have many. So they can kind of try to find some spark plug type players with a lot of upside but maybe more risk, which is a unique position for the Falcons and really a unique position in the NFL in general, where a lot of teams have glaring needs, even some of the better teams out there. But for Atlanta, there's just not that many. So I like where they're at right now. Now, the big-time storyline with the Falcons, can Matt Ryan win a Super Bowl? He was so darn close a couple of years ago. Can he get it done in 2018? It's Super Bowl 53. That is a headline worth watching. So we've got Atlanta at number 8. Let's go to number 7 now, to the AFC, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the whole Le'Veon Bell saga is kind of a shame because I think the Steelers are kind of botching this right now in that they're not pleasing their star running back. And I understand you can't budge at the immediate instance of a threat of retiring or sitting out for a season, kind of like the Giants are budging right now. But for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have to understand that Ben Roethlisberger is not getting any younger, and he's going to need a quality rushing attack behind him to continue to be effective. The Steelers cannot have 45 to 50 pass attempts from Ben Roethlisberger in 2018. They just can't have that because that's when the 5 interceptions happened, because that's what we saw from the Jacksonville Jaguars game, part 1, a year ago. Now, the Steelers brought in John Bostic at inside linebacker. I think he's a really good player, hits hard. But I think the Steelers will probably look to inside linebacker in that first round as well. So keep an eye on Malik Jefferson and a couple of other players, maybe Leighton Vander Esch as well. So I'm just not really sure what I'm going to get from Ben Roethlisberger in 2018. Because he's been kind of dramatic about his future. And he's going to come back, and we all know that. But remember after that Jacksonville Jaguars game when he said, I don't know if I have it anymore? Where's his mentality at? And let's say he has bad off-season workouts too, like OTAs, training camp, maybe even the preseason doesn't go very well. I don't know. So the Pittsburgh Steelers checking in at number 7. Maybe I'm all negative on them because I'm a Ravens fan. Trevor, shout out to you in the comments section wondering about the Ravens. Sorry, buddy. I don't have our team in the top 10. I got to be honest about Baltimore. All right, so let's go to number 6 here, a team that the Steelers couldn't figure out, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, first of all, love the addition of Andrew Norwell. Love, love, love. Best guard via free agency this offseason. Got to get better play from the other guard position. A.J. Cann is that incumbent there. We'll see how he performs. Losing Allen Robinson stinks and all that, but I kind of expected that. There was no way they were going to be able to afford the franchise tag, and I don't think Robinson was a big-time priority for Jacksonville's leadership either, so no shock at all to see him walk and move to the Chicago Bears. But all is not really lost here because they bring in ASJ, Ostis-Ferrian-Jenkins at tight end, Niles Paul as well, like him a lot, Dante Moncrief. People like to hate on this kid. I like Moncrief a lot. He has a really good ceiling. So he comes in to help out Blake Bortles, and they're going to be a run-first offense anyway. The Jacksonville Jaguars made it to the AFC Championship game last year, perhaps one throw away from making it to the Super Bowl without the services of Allen Robinson, like 99% of the season. So Robinson really wasn't all that integral to Jacksonville's success. So you got Marquise Lee, Dante Moncrief there at wide receiver, D.D. Westbrook as well. We'll see how he develops. Like the Jags a lot. Blake Bortles, it's all about Blake Bortles. How does he perform in 2018? And if he continues to make progress, who's to say the Jaguars can't make the Super Bowl? All right, so they're at number 6 in my rankings. I've got one more AFC team to get to. Yeah, seriously, because the NFC is so darn good. At number 5, big brother in the AFC, the New England Patriots. So they lose Nate Solder to the Giants. I think that hurts a lot. I have big-time question marks at tackle now because Cam Fleming moved on to the Dallas Cowboys. And now you're going to ask LeAdrian Waddle to protect Tom Brady's blind side? That doesn't really instill confidence in terms of Patriots fans out there. Also lost Malcolm Butler and Dion Lewis, both key pieces to that team. They did address that front 7, adding Danny Shelton, who's been a disappointment so far, by the way, and Adrian Claiborne. I like the addition of Jason McCourty. He had a really good season for the Browns at cornerback. Didn't get the headlines because he played for Cleveland and an 0-16 team, but played really well individually speaking. Now, my question also, who runs the football for New England? Rex Burkhead, Jeremy Hill? Like, some people in the comment section before have said Jeremy Hill's a good running back, and they blame the Bengals coaching staff for his bad performances, which I guess you could make a point about. But I'm kind of off the Jeremy Hill train, and Rex Burkhead isn't a 25-carry running back, so not really sure where New England's going to go with that backfield. But, again, the root of the problem for me with New England is pass protection, especially at tackle for the Patriots. If Tom Brady's running for his life, all bets are off. I mean, the Pats may not even get a top 2 seed if that's the case. All right, so the Patriots are at number 5. Let's go to number 4 now. All NFC teams from here on out. The Minnesota Vikings. Oh, love this team. You know what? I should have them higher, but I can't do it because I like the other three teams more. But very marginal differences here for the top 4. So they got an unreal defense. Insert Sheldon Richardson along with Everson Griffin, Linval Joseph, Anthony Barr. You get Harrison Smith on that back end, Trey Waynes as well, and Xavier Rhodes too. Really solid defense. Now, usually when really good defenses, occur in the NFL, there's like a little weakness you can point to, whether it's run defense, pass rush, maybe the secondary. For the Vikings, I can't pick one. There's no weakness on that defensive side. So let's look to the offensive side now. How is Kirk Cousins going to perform with the Minnesota Vikings? He's got all the tools. He's got Dalvin Cook behind him at running back, coming back from injury. He's got Stephon Diggs, a fantastic wide receiver. Adam Thielen, great in his own right as well. Kendall Wright coming on over in addition. So all of that's there. You got a really good offensive coordinator in John DeFilippo, who did wonders for the Eagles as the quarterback's coach. Pressure's on for Kirk Cousins. It's Super Bowl or bust, especially when you make $84 million, all guaranteed money. Vikings check in at number 4. Let's go to number 3, a team that I actually think will represent the NFC in Super Bowl 53, at least right now. This is not a hard prediction, but a team I really like. The Los Angeles Rams. They got the best secondary in the NFC. Aqib Talib, Marcus Peters, LaMarcus Joyner, John Johnson. Stop it. All good. Ndamukong Suh. Insert him next to Aaron Donald. You got the number 1 scoring offense from 2017, only going to get better. You may point to Sammy Watkins leaving, but you know what? He barely made a dent in that passing offense. He was like wide receiver 3 for them because Cooper Kupp showed more promise and Robert Woods showed more promise. And they have a couple of young tight ends in Everett and company that I think will do well as well. So Higbee too, Tyler Higbee, good player. It's all there. Jared Goff making the right strides in that direction, and re-signing John Sullivan at center is really important from a consistency standpoint for Jared Goff. All the evidence is there for the Los Angeles Rams to make a huge run to the Super Bowl. Now, a question for you guys. Are the Rams the Super Bowl favorite? Give me a heart for yes, a like for no. Are you on board with the Rams? Jeff Ward in the comment section saying no. So certainly let me know, guys. Hit up those hearts and thumbs, and then say hello in the comments section as well. Of course, I'd love to hear from you guys. So we got the Rams at 3, which means got a couple of teams left here. Let's go to the number 2 team in my rankings, pre-draft edition, the New Orleans Saints. Now, a couple of things here. The addition of Patrick Robinson, A-plus material, because you have a secondary now led by Ken Crawley, Marshawn Lattimore, defensive rookie of the year there, and Patrick Robinson. That's a really good secondary, really good. Now, you look at that front 7, Alex Okafor coming on back. You got Cam Jordan at defensive end, really good player. So now you look to the offense. Ingram and Kamara, that 1-2 punch, less pressure on Drew Brees to throw the football 45, 50 times when you have the services of those fantastic running backs. So for the Saints, there's a Super Bowl window here for maybe 2-3 years max, depending on how Drew Brees does in the coming years and if he drops off a little bit. But the Saints are a team I like a lot. I'm telling you guys, this NFC is really hard to rank. It really is. 1 through 4 is difficult. Saints, Vikings, Rams, and now this team checking in at number 1, the Philadelphia Eagles, your Super Bowl champions from Super Bowl 52. So difficult to rank, but I'm of the camp that you got to put the defending champions at number 1 in every single power ranking until maybe before week 1 of 2018. Because you got to show respect to the champs. They literally just won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles at quarterback. So the Michael Bennett situation is something worth watching, and we'll see if that goes to trial. But still, a really good front line there. A solid secondary as well. Bringing in Darryl Worley will help things at depth for cornerback help. And the key here, Carson Wentz coming on back. And if last year was any indication, the flashes that he showed playing quarterback, he'll be playing at a very high level again in 2018. And let's say Carson Wentz, goes through his recovery and maybe misses a game or two during the 2018 season, whatever the case may be. It may not be because of that original injury, but maybe just another injury. You have the confidence in a very quality quarterback in Nick Foles. So that's the beauty of the Philadelphia Eagles. Even if tragedy strikes twice, Carson Wentz gets hurt, you have the services of Nick Foles to play quarterback, a guy that just won you, Eagles fans, a Super Bowl. So that's why I got the Eagles at number 1. Really good roster up and down. Also recently signed Mike Wallace. We'll see what he can do. I would say he's actually a minimal upgrade from Torrey Smith. A couple of Baltimore Ravens cast-offs, if you will. Mike Wallace now a member of Philadelphia. Alshon Jeffrey, though, still the guy there at wide receiver, a player that is really having a good spurt of his career right now. All right, so I've got the Eagles as the number 1 team in my pre-draft NFL power rankings. Let's summarize my list. 6 through 10, got the Jaguars, Steelers, Falcons, 49ers, and Chargers. And my top 5, Eagles, Saints, Rams, Vikings. Look at that. All NFC, 1 through 4 there. And then you got the Patriots there at number 5. Big-time question marks for New England.